Good evening and welcome to the 2019 Town of Manteo Candidate Forum, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dare County. I'm Marion Midget, coordinator for the forum, and we're giving a hats off to Lorelei DiBernardo, along with Sonny Shea, who have organized all the town forums and receptions that we had. This is the last one, we're all done after tonight. I'd like to thank all of you for being here, as well as the candidates for participating in this event. Since 1920, the League of Women Voters has been an activist, grassroots organization whose leaders believe that people should play a critical role in democracy. The League of Women Voters was founded by Carrie Chapman Catt in 1920, just 6 months before the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, giving women the right to vote. We are proud to continue the tradition of bringing candidates and voters together at our forums. Throughout the years, the League has continued its dual purposes of education, that's what this is, and advocacy, engaging in studies on representative government, international relations, natural resources, and social policy. Our history of advocacy goes back to our beginnings. We in Dare County will be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the League of Women Voters and of suffrage passing with a series of events throughout the year, including lectures, movies, panel discussions, and social times. Stay tuned for the details. And now I'll introduce our staff for the evening. We have greeters who you met when you came in, and these people will collect a card. If you just raise it up, they'll come around and get it during the meeting. Colleen Oaksmith, Lorelei DiBernardo, and Tony DiBernardo. Question reviewers are Vanzola McMurray and Susan Merrill. Forgive me for pointing, but I want you to know where they were. Our timer, very important person, is Sonny Shea, and she will keep the candidates on their time schedule. And she hasn't stopped trying to. Okay, now I'm introducing our moderator for tonight, Colin Schreiber, and she will go ahead from here.
Good evening, and please let me know if you cannot hear me, because I will look to you. Okay. All right. So, good evening. My name is Colleen Shriver. I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Dare County, and I live in unincorporated Dare, Manteo. The League is comprised of women and men and is a nonprofit, nonpartisan political organization. It encourages informed and active participation in all levels of government. It works to increase understanding of major public policy issues and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League maintains a nonpartisan policy. It neither endorses nor opposes any political party or candidate. The League participates in the Positive Campaign Project, and each candidate has taken the Code of Campaign Ethics pledge. We prohibit campaigning and campaign literature in the forum room. All cell phones, now's the time, all cell phones and electronic devices should be turned off. Texting is prohibited. We also encourage a lively and respectful discussion. If you think of a question during the forum, please raise your hand. As Marion said, the greeters will come and they'll take that and bring it up to the reviewers. So you can do that at any time. Please make sure your question and your name is printed legibly, and it helps the reviewers, but it also keeps me from butchering your name. And I make no promises, because I may do it anyway. Mayor Owens is running for re-election and is unopposed. There are 3 open commissioner seats, and we have 5 candidates. 2 candidates were unable to be with us tonight, so you will not be hearing from Hannon Fry or Nancy Peel. So we have Jason Borland, Darryl Collins, and Betty Selby. Thank you all so much. The mayor will have an opening statement and a closing statement. If you have written a question addressed to his position, he will answer that question. Otherwise, he has graciously chosen not to participate in the other questions in order for the candidates to have more time for your questions. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for their opening statement. The timekeeper will signal when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining and when time is up. She will stand if the candidate continues past the allotted time. We don't want to see her standing. Next, the candidates will respond to the questions we received from the audience. Voters were asked to submit 1 question per card with their full name and town of residence. Questions may be addressed to one specific candidate or all candidates. League members have been reviewing the questions for clarity, relevance, and to avoid duplication. We believe this procedure affords the greatest variety of subjects to be covered in the allotted time. Questioners will be asked to step to the podium and read their question exactly as it is written. This is very important to our process. Please do not add anything to what you provided on the card that was reviewed, and there will not be an opportunity for further engagement with the candidates once they begin answering the question. Once you have read your question, I will give you time to take your seat, and I will call on each candidate to respond in a specified order, and we've done our best to make it random. The League advocates positive campaign practices, and we reserve the right to omit any question that is viewed as a personal attack or unrelated to campaign issues. A second opportunity will not be extended to any candidates who initially passed on a question. There will not be an additional comments by any candidate to any question that was asked and already answered. When all questions have been answered or we have reached the time allotted for this portion of the forum, each candidate will be entitled to a 2-minute closing statement. Mayor Owens again will start the opening and closing statement section of our forum. The other candidates drew numbers in advance to establish the order for their opening statements. We will reverse that order for the closing statements. So at this point in time, we will start the opening statement by Mayor Owens.
Okay. I'd like to thank the League tonight for sponsoring this event. It gives a chance for the Manteo public to meet the candidates, a chance for the candidates to meet the public. I hope the questions tonight are valid and sincere and about Manteo and not about personalities, and I'm sure they will not be. I'd like to give you a resume. Not many of you know me. It's going to be pretty short, but I want to tell you about myself, and that's all I'm going to do, because not many of you know. I served on the Dare County Board of Commissioners for 21 years, 13 years as chairman. I served 12 years on the North Carolina Utilities Commission, which is the most powerful commission in the state of North Carolina. I was on the Board of Trustees, the health systems of East Carolina for 10 years. I was on the Board of Trustees of East Carolina University for 6 years. I was on, get this one, served many years on the Foundation Board of the North Carolina Arts Society, if you believe that or not. During Jim Hunt's administration, I served on his staff directly for the Governor's Eastern Office. I've served on the North Carolina Banking Commission. I've served as a member of the state legislature's Tax Study Commission when they revised the taxes for North Carolina. I was elected Dare County Businessman of the Year. I was elected Manteo Citizen of the Year. I was elected to the Chamber of Commerce and Citizen of the Year. I have received 2 longleaf pines, one of the few people in North Carolina that's received 2 of the longleaf pines. And now I'm serving gratefully the time of Manteo as mayor, and I really love my job, and I love being here, and I love representing you folks.
Thank you. Next is Darryl Collins.
Thank you for having us here tonight. Well, Well, a resume, I just retired from the National Park Service after 40 years of service as the historian of the Wright Brothers National Memorial. I am also the chairman of the Professional Advisor Committee for the End of Life Coalition at the Dare County Home Health Care and Hospice. I'm also a recipient of the Longleaf Pine. I received mine on the Senate floor, right, presented by the governor himself. I gave a presentation during the 2003 celebration of the Wright Brothers' 100th anniversary of the first flight. Before I became, how I became a commissioner, my mother died. She was a commissioner for 26 years. And during the election, she suddenly died, and I was able to take her spot. And I successfully won my seat back 3 times. Before I became a commissioner, I was on the Planning and Zoning Board for 8 years. I also helped to write some of the ordinance that we have today, although they've been updated quite a few times since then. This year is the 120th anniversary of the founding of Manteo. And ever since its founding, our commissioners has always listened to our citizens to make informed decisions. I'm a good listener, okay? And my main goal is to preserve the small town character of this town, at the same time having a sense of community and history. I like history, and I'm also the president of the Pea Island Preservation Society. Manteo has a long history of a maritime history, but also have a black history in Manteo. We tell the story of Richard Etheridge and his Pea Island crew and all the 4th graders in Dare County now, for the first time in the history of Dare County, that black history is being given in elementary schools. I hope that you vote for me, and thank you for having us here tonight.
Thank you. And now Betty Selby.
Hi, my name is Betty Selby. I am a resident of Manteo. All my life, I'm a native, true, blue, and native. I have worked with Dare County school systems for 31 years. I love children. I have ran a tutoring program, Monday Night Live, for 18 years. I also served at Dare County Health Board, Dare County Association of Educators, Hands of Hope, which is a cancer group started probably about 9 years ago. I am a PTA. I was a PTA president for 8 years here in Manteo. I am a member of the North Carolina Association of Education. I am a graduate from the North Carolina Association of School Business. But with all that said, I love Manteo. I'm running for your commissioner of Manteo because I believe my community involvement, my advocacy for people, my concern, my eagerness to be a fresh voice for you has led me to believe that I am your candidate for Manteo Town Commission. I bring a fresh voice, fresh ideas, and I'm ready to work for you. I want to work for the townspeople of Manteo. I'm not running against a candidate. I'm running for the people of Manteo. Your vote for me will be a vote for you. Thank you to the League. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the family and friends that came out to support me tonight. Thank you. Thank you. And I will be your commissioner.
Thank you. Before we start with the questions, since we don't have very many.
I think you skipped me.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, Jason. Heavens to Beth. Jason, could you listen to Jason's opening statement, please? Sorry, Jason.
I almost let you slide. I told you I haven't done this before. I'm a little nervous, so I almost let you go. But I'll give a little less of a resume and try to introduce myself here to a lot of folks that haven't met me. My name is Jason Borland, and I live here in Manteo. I haven't been here for hundreds of years like a lot of the other commissioners, and that's okay. I think it's great that we have such a strong representation of our great heritage here. And it's those families of these commissioners that have built the place that me and so many others fell in love with and worked so hard to get to. My wife and I, we gave up a lot to get here. We put all our cards on the table and bet everything on a life in Manteo. And thus far, we've been certainly haven't been disappointed. In fact, we've been welcomed with open arms every step of it. And we just want to give back to the community. But with so many changes in front of us, I almost felt a moral obligation to step in front of you all today and run for office here. I think it's important to have perspective from someone that came to town and made the shift from outsider to resident here. And with so much of our economy relying on visitors, I do represent someone who used to be one. In addition to being a more resident addition to the town and raising my family here, I'm also a business owner. As my wife and I, we own the Roanoke Island Inn just a few blocks from here. And again, these things don't make me better or worse than anybody, but it gives you a look into what makes up my perspective. And so that's me, and I appreciate you letting me introduce myself, but it doesn't tell you much of what I stand for. And I can't promise that everyone's going to be pleased with every decision I make or every vote that I would make. But I can promise that my integrity will never be able to be questioned. And I will take the time to listen and understand the needs and perspectives of those around me. I'll be transparent, and maybe most importantly, if there's a reason that things don't shake out the way that you hoped for, I'll take the time to partner with you and help you understand why a certain decision was made. I wish nothing but the best for all the other candidates, and I hope whoever wins the election is able to do what we're all really here for today, and that is to do with Manteo what we should hope to do with our own lives, and that is to get a little bit better every day while staying true to our character and morals. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me
Yes, ma'am.
mess up already. So, does anyone else have any questions that we can bring up to the reviewers? Okay, if you come up with one, raise your hand. I am going to ask Dave Stemple, and he actually has 2 questions, and there are no others, so I'm just going to...
My wife wrote the questions for me.
Well, I'll let you read the first one.
Oh.
And then I will go to the commissioner.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
To look good and clean.
This is for all the commissioners. What are your thoughts on downtown development? Oh, okay.
Okay, so,
I guess we start with Betty.
but actually, we do start with Betty because that's my list. We start with Betty.
Betty it is. Developing downtown Manteo, I thought about it, I walked around looking. I think it should be limited to development. Downtown Manteo is a nice, unique, quaint town. We want to keep it a quaint town by preserving it. I do think that as we all know, we have a parking problem. That seems to be in the works of being addressed. But the development I would say, need to be very limited. Keeping in mind that people come here for our small town quaintness, uniqueness, and able to move around without a lot of congestion.
Thank you. Next would be Jason Boylan.
Being in the hospitality business, obviously, we've been fielding this question since we moved in, and people wanted to ask us about the hotel across the street. And I think it's a big hot button issue these days. And I don't want to be afraid of growth. I think, using the hotel example, if it's done properly and Manteo is able to be in partnership for the betterment of Manteo, and these things are going to be an asset, an extension of downtown, a quaint little hotel and, whatever else is there, that's good. But when we just want to grow for growth's sake and we're it's not benefiting, it's at Manteo's expense. I don't think that we need to bend at all and be bullied into doing something that is not going to benefit the town. So again, I think growth can be good, and we need to be in front of that, and that's a big reason that got me up here. But it needs to be done properly to make sure that we're always preserving before we prosper here. Because if we just expand and put in a food line on every block, then no one's going to want to come and see us, and I don't know how many people are going to want to live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Darryl Collins?
Well, I think downtown development has to be well planned out, done responsibly, with lots of citizens' input, so we could make decisions that would benefit not only the developers, but also benefit the citizens of the town.
Thank you. Would you like to come up and read your next question? With the pink circle?
Yes, they look it up. They look it up. Mr. Collins, unfortunately, you're the only one that is here that has served before. And my question was for the other two that also are not here, and I think that should be noted that they are not here tonight for the citizens to ask questions of. For those going for re-election, what have you accomplished in your previous time that would want me to vote for you as a commissioner now?
As commissioner. Well, I think that we have, economically, we have made the town strong. We have put a lot of money into our stormwater maintenance and projects to try to clear up the quality of water in Shallowback Bay. I think we spent almost $3 million trying to do that. I think my main accomplishment is that I made all my decisions to preserve the small-time character of Manteo in a way that makes Manteo a place where people wants to come and retire and become a part of the community. And I think that's my greatest accomplishment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Randy Fenninger? I'll let you read that, and then you can take your seat and we'll hear from them.
As new residents, we have noticed a number of empty buildings and storefronts. How do you plan to encourage new merchants and vendors into those spaces?
Okay, we are starting with Darryl Collins.
Well, business downtown come and go. If we could offer some kind of incentives as far as tax relief or whatever to entice other businesses to come to town, that might be a good start. It should be all well planned out, and it would be a decision that we would ask the community to put input in, as well as the business community itself to maybe offer us ideas of business that it might thrive in the town of Manteo.
Thank you. Betty?
Businesses come to downtown Manteo. They come because they're excited, they like what we have, and they want to do business. They leave because traffic slows down, people don't visit year-round, and they can't make it. So they come excited, and they pack up and leave a little disappointed. So what I would like to see is a plan from the different people in Manteo of how we can have year-round businesses, year-round traffic, different events year-round. December, January, and February is cold months. You don't see people out in Manteo like they do in the summer months. So somehow during those months, we got to get businesses going and keep them going by offering different events to get people in downtown Manteo so business owners can make it throughout the year, year-round.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I don't have the full answer for it, but I don't want to underplay the importance of it. When we look at growth and we talk about an extension to downtown, and there's some, in the approved plan, there's some residential area, and you picture that as full businesses, and our shops downtown, we want to be full as well. So while I don't have the exact formula for it, I do know that it's important. I want the local leadership to make sure to partner with our local businesses and do whatever we can to remove hurdles for them. And one thing, sometimes downtown, I've heard people say that it's not for the locals, it's for the people that live downtown, and it's for the visitors. And it's another one of those things we need to, sometimes it feels like we're on different islands on all our different communities within Manteo, and we need to figure out how, through different events and things, like Betty said, we can drive local traffic and local residents into downtown to take advantage of the businesses that we have there.
Thank you. Darryl, Colin? Did you answer that one? I'm sorry. I'm so used to having 5 numbers up here. So the next question is from Lauren.
This is for all candidates. How do you plan to address the parking problem in downtown Manteo?
We'll start with Betty.
Well, first we got to start with the planning and zoning board, see what the ordinance is to allow more parking. I think some of that's already being addressed with the tearing down of the building by having additional parking there. I think, too, parking, I see we have a bicycle rack, but I wish we have a specialized parking for bicycles, and that'll increase people to ride their bicycles, stop along the way to the storefront.
Thank you. Next would be Jason Bourne.
Yeah, and Betty obviously got out in front of another hot button with the parking here in your early remarks. But parking is a problem, and commend the mayor on what we already have going with the town common. I think that's an exciting asset that'll be coming to the town. I think there's other ways to look at it as well. Festival Park is an example where we have a lot of parking that is almost never filled. And part of the problem is people don't know it's there. And so it goes back to another issue that we have, which is wayfinding. And if we had a better story to tell on where you can go to park and you're still downtown, and hey, maybe that even lets you see, hey, there's this great thing over here, Festival Park, that I didn't know about. And so it's looking at it from different angles like that, as well as Betty says, bikes. I mean, if we had some kind of bike share going on, then people would be motivated to park further away as well. But hopefully we're seeing some improvement, and again, I think I'd love to see some improvement on the wayfinding front as well.
Thank you. Darryl Collins.
Well, like the candidates already said, that our town common project will alleviate some of the parking problems we have now. And like Jason said, there is a lot of parking at Festival Park. A lot of people don't know about it, and maybe more signage to point people that way would help relieve some of the parking in downtown. They also explore some type of shuttle service from maybe a parking lot at COA or whatever, and to get people into town and make it a more a walking experience for the people who visit downtown Manteo.
Thank you.
May I get in this?
Yeah, because I'm gonna bring you into the next question too, so go right
She
ahead.
said, oh, next question for me. Maybe I better keep my mouth shut.
You might as well fill in the gaps.
The Town Commons project is a town community project. All the commissioners are involved, and it's going to be probably for 75 cars. And we're going to have allowances for maybe 4 buses, which the buses, tour buses come in here now, have no place to park. They're all over town, so we're going to be able to park 4 buses. It's going to be lighted. It's going to be beautiful. You'll be very proud of it. On one corner, I don't think many of you know about it, we're setting aside a landscaped area for benches, foliage, flowers, fountains, and I even dream of a small, not a statue, but a man honoring Chief Manteo, telling him about his true history and heritage. And you ought to look that up. It's very interesting. I can't say enough about this parking lot, and I purposely changed it from the parking lot, keeping people being offended, to the Manteo Town Commons, which I think is more appropriate. And parking is a serious problem in Manteo. Every time we've had a questionnaire sent out, it comes back that parking is the most serious problem in Manteo. So I just wanted to throw that in, that I think everybody's going to be proud of that Town Commons.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions out there? Okay. We do have some questions from the League of Women Voters, and I'm going to read the question, and then I'm just going to go left to right. So, the question is, do you have any suggestions for providing essential and/or affordable housing choices within a close proximity to the town of Manteo? Please explain. Mayor Owens.
Yes, I certainly do. I've been talking with the town manager, and he'll attest to this one-on-one. I've been talking also with the County Board of Commissioners. It seems to me like all the towns on the beach want to be involved, want this, want that, but they don't want it in their backyard. And I'm saying I want it in my backyard because there has to be places for people to live at a reasonable rate. I don't have to tell you how expensive Manteo is in Dare County. It's very expensive to live here. If we could partner with the county and build so many units and say rent for $800 a month or not over $1,000 a month, and most people could afford that. And we're in a good situation or a bad situation, however you want to look at it, because we have wastewater runoff, we have sewage. No other town in the county has sewage. And that means the lot size can be smaller or larger and with more density. There's a place out that the county owns called Bowser Town. Most of you know it. The county is looking at it, and they have asked the town if they would partner with them as far as wastewater. Now, the county would furnish the water, which is very important. Okay. And we have the wastewater treatment system that we're looking to see if we can allow it, and it will sustain us for the future as a town of Manteo, and also provide affordable housing at the same time. She's giving me the cutoff, so I'm going to have to hush about this. But I am very excited about affordable housing for not Manteo, but it'll be pretty close to Manteo, and we'll be involved.
Thank you. Jason Bourne.
Ditto. No, I know it's a very important issue, and I don't have the answer for this one. I know it's something that's in the 20-year plan that was important to folks, and it's something that we haven't done anything about yet. So like the mayor said, you know, nobody wants it in their backyard, but we do, and I think we would take great pride in figuring that piece out. I know, talking to George over at the Dare County Minority Coalition, that's a big push for him, and I think it's partnering with different groups like that might have some ideas, and like Betty or Darryl was saying about making sure we get input from the people of Manteo that we're supposed to be serving here, to help figure out the answer to these kind of more complex issues that we've got. But again, this is an important one, and I think it should be something that's on the front of the table for us.
Thank you. Darryl Collins.
Well, the way our economy is today and the way people, I mean, they seem to want put people in houses, and 20% of developments have to have affordable lots and houses, but it's not really affordable for people who live in the town. Like, I mean, $190,000 is not affordable housing. I think it should be around somewhere like 75 or less, 175,000 or less in affordable housing. I think the way we could solve it is, like the mayor said, the partnership, but not only with the county, but with other towns, and to maybe do some type of apartment complex, apartments, 1, 2, 3 bedroom apartments, so that people can afford the rent, than just trying to afford a mortgage for a house that you might not be able to hold on to in the future. So I think some type of apartment complex somewhere, maybe not in the town of Manteo, but if there is land available, would probably solve our affordable housing problem.
Thank you. Betty, Selby?
Okay, affordable housing. What is affordable housing? The mayor just said a medium income, or income like that. Affordable housing to me is, I know people got their different dollar amount, should be made in the town of Manteo, partner, just like the mayor and everybody has said. But apartments is not the way to go. People want home ownership. They want affordable home ownership, not apartment that they can afford, that looks good, that they're proud of, and they don't have to retire to be a homeowner. Everybody that comes to Manteo is not retiring. We want them to be able to afford a house, and partners with other agencies, like the mayor said, would solve that. But I think affordable housing should be for all of us.
Thank you. Next question will be for all of you, and it also is a League of Women Voters question. The economy of the Outer Banks is largely based on its natural environment. What are your ideas about maintaining this environment? So I'll start with Betty.
Seem to be starting a lot of these questions here. I think that Manteo has a very good natural environment. It creates jobs. I think our natural environment town of Manteo should be, it's already well maintained. It should continue to be.
Thank you. Jason Borland.
Yeah, and Darryl touched on something too as an accolade, which is this week they were talking about the quality of our water, which is a big achievement that we should be proud of. But it's the beauty that brings people to the Outer Banks and to Manteo. We're a beautiful habitat, and we need to do everything we can to preserve that. And I think there's a lot of different ways to approach that. I think a big thing that I've talked about is just, we need to start with our kids and educating them on why you respect the environment and making sure that they're doing that. I had seen this question on Vote 411, so something that I had thought of as well is when we do events and different things in town, an idea is to bring in the different organizations, whether that's somebody like the aquarium, who with Nest and the different things that they do, you can create a entertainment value while educating. And there's different cleanup organizations as well, 40 Ocean, and just different local ones that we can bring in to our events and anything that the town does that will promote education, as well as allowing those organizations to fundraise and be able to do more of what they're already doing.
Thank you. Darryl Collins?
Well, our uplands and wetlands are probably the most important as far as industry of seafood. We should do all we can to improve the quality of water in the Shallowbag Bay, and hopefully make it one day that you could eat the shellfish out of it again. Like I said, at the time, we have spent almost $3 million in stormwater runoff, which is probably the greatest pollutant of water in the bay. And I think rain gardens are very important. People that retain water on their property or in businesses, so that when the water does go into the bay, it'll be clean. Try to preserve the natural edge of the wetlands and as best as we can. CAMA does a good job at that, so hopefully that'll make a difference.
Thank you. Mayor Owens?
Yeah, you know, I think most of the people who live in Dare County are natural environmentalists anyhow. We have to by nature of where we're located, because we live with nature more than most people around. Some of you people came from the cities. You're dealing with manufacturing, chemical companies, a little bit of everything. We don't have that here, thank goodness. We are living in a natural environment in Dare County that not many people have. And you folks moved here because of the beauty of the area and the natural environment as it is. We have clean beaches so far. We need clean air. We need clean water. We're stopping drilling off the coast, I hope. And by the way, that's not the first time. In 1980, when I was chairman, we had the same move. Mobil oil was coming offshore here to drill. And we fought them back, and they pulled out. And that was in the 80s. That was another movement. Now, this movement started now is doing the same thing, thank goodness. But I think an environment, by just concern alone, is so important to Mother Nature and to us in Dare County. And I don't see us changing it. I see us fighting for a natural economy and an environment for the rest of, as long as we're going to be here.
Thank you. Next question is from the League of Women Voters. And this is the last question we have, if you all don't have any. And I'm not seeing any hands. Okay. This will again go to all of you. Please identify the top 3 issues that you wish to address during your tenure in office. And I'll start with Darryl Collins.
Well, one of the issues is our tax base, which is one of the highest in the Dare County, but not the highest. I think we should maintain that tax base, but not to burden the citizens, and to keep the quality of our services to our citizens as they are. We provide more services than any municipality in Dare County. I think stormwater runoff is another issue that we'll probably face in the future. Sea level rising, I think that will take into account some of the low-lying areas in the town of Manteo, especially downtown Manteo. Traffic, we talked about that, and maybe come up with some way of solving our traffic problem. But you know, we do have a plan to open up roads, maybe interconnect roads that are not off 64. We have a traffic plan, so I think that's probably the top 3, except, you know, to maintain our small town character and to keep it a small town. and it's the way we like it.
Thank you. Mayor Owens?
Yeah. You know, when I run for office for the town of Manteo, I had no intentions of running. I was begged to run. I was old. I'm probably the oldest, youngest member on this board. But I told them no, and I was begged into it. But I did have an agenda, and I still have an agenda, and it will continue to be so. I didn't run just to be running as mayor or commissioner. I wish now I had run as commissioner because I'd had a vote, because I feel so weak and helpless here as mayor and not being able to vote. The three things, I would say a clean environment, which we addressed earlier. COA, College Albemarle, is coming to Manteo. The full campus is coming to Manteo. We will be in charge of coordination and ordinances and the building of it and everything, which is a vital concern to everybody here. We hope to develop it into a 2-year college. I hope we can have a dormitory here somewhere for kids to come in, because I believe they'll come. It's like the old saying, build it and they'll come, because they love to surf, they love the beaches. University of North Carolina, Wilmington, you see what happened to it. It started out as a small community college. Now it's one of the best, biggest colleges in the state of North Carolina. That can happen to us. COA right out here, they're going to spend about $14 million to get started, and we will be a vital part of it. I've already asked the town manager again, I keep using his name, but he's my verification. I said, James, start thinking about a pathway from College of Albemarle to downtown Manteo. I don't mean a 2-foot walkway, a 4, 6, 8-foot walkway from the College of Albemarle for those students to downtown Manteo, which would be a dream. And I do have an agenda. I'd love to read it to you, but I can't now. I don't have time. She said stop, so I'm stopping.
Betty Selby.
I will be your town commissioner. Right, y'all? I'd like to see more involvement from the citizens, from all our neighborhoods, for all people. Get our boards on board with fresh voices, people from all of Manteo. The second thing is what Commissioner Collins said, keep Manteo small, quaint, friendly, without a lot of big box stores. The third thing is affordable housing for all of us.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, for me, first and foremost is communication, and that means a few different things. Number one is transparency in what we're doing up here, but it's also communicating and make sure we're representing properly, whether that's empowering those that don't feel empowered to speak up, building those connections and partnering with those folks to make sure they have a voice in the first place, or whether it's those that feel like they're screaming and nobody's listening, make sure that we're being a megaphone for them. So in anything we do, communication is a big number one for me. I think growth and making sure it's done properly. I think the COA stuff is very exciting, and we've got to be out in front of it and doing the things like Mayor talked about, and connecting to downtown and just making sure that we're in front of that wave. The other things, the hotel stuff that we had already talked about, making sure that we're doing this strategic growth to grow what is already a great community. And we've talked about that in length. So my last thing is building bridges. Again, I feel like we have these separate islands within the island, and we forget that we're all town of Manteo, and even further than that, we're all Roanoke Island and we're all Outer Banks, and we can do a better job of bringing those communities together and making it not seem like we've got these different worlds within each other. Thank you.
Thank you. So, at this point, we're going to go ahead and let them do their closing statements, and we will start with Mayor Owens.
Yeah, Jason just alluded to something about us all being one. He didn't say it in those terms, but I think that's where he was heading. I'm certainly glad that the folks, I look around here, I see some people that I really know, I've known for a long time. And I see some people that I don't know that I'm glad are here and are being involved in the community. You know, I want all of you to be proud to say you're a Manteo. It offends me, it always has, when people move in here and then they want to burn the bridges and don't want anybody else in here. That's very selfish. Very selfish. I want everybody to move in here and enjoy the same life that I grew up with. And it's still basically the same. It's changed a lot, I can assure you, because I remember the dirt roads in the time of Manteo. But there was a nice time, and all these books you read about Manteo now, I don't remember Manteo being like you're reading, I'll tell you. It's a lot of add-ons and take-away-froms. But what I want to finish with, I want all of us to be one. I want all of us to be Manteoers, and I want us to be part of a team. And working together, not against, or not condemning, and not having sidelines, or these little innuendos, he said, you said, she said. It goes on in Manteo, as Jason alluded to. We just had a case the other night at the board meeting, which was far from true of what was happening. We wanted all the people in Manteo to know everything going on, and that's why we wanted to get it on TV that night. So I'm glad you're here. I hope you stay here. I hope we can all get together and be one and be proud to be calling ourselves Manteoers.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, thank you, and it's been a privilege to stand up here. I haven't done anything like this before. We covered a lot, but I know it's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of things that the unsexy topics, like the stormwater things that, and cleaning up the water that aren't parking and things that people are seeing out in front of them on a daily basis. I just want everyone to know, or any voter out there, that what I'm driven by is my morals and my love for Manteo, and everything I do is working to hope that I'm making decisions to make my family proud. And if I were chosen or elected, then I would hope that I would make you all proud to have elected me in office as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Betty Selby?
Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you tonight, to share my thoughts and ideas. It's not about my thoughts, it's not about my ideas, it's about your thoughts and your ideas. I would love to be your commissioner so that I can share those ideas with Manteo. And I want to hear from you, not just during election. I want to hear from you all the time. Open door policy, and I appreciate it, and thank you, and I appreciate your vote on November the 5th. Early voting starts October 16th, though. Just so you know.
Thank you. Darryl Collins?
I'd like to thank the League for hosting us tonight, and for everybody that came out tonight to listen to us talk. Community health and safety is very important to me. It's the foundation of what we do as commissioners. Provide a healthy environment and good quality of life for our citizens. Making town of Manteo a nice place to walk and greet neighbors, and for kids to go to school and to raise a family here. And I think we've done a good job here in Manteo. And I hope to continue to do that job with your help, for sure, your input, and to make you proud of us and to be part of the town of Manteo. Thank you.
Thank you. We thank all of the candidates for coming tonight and being here and providing, as Marion said, education and information. It's extremely important. So we thank you for your participation in the forum, We thank the voters for being engaged with questions. And also thanks to everyone who came and attended. We also wish to thank the town of Manteo for the use of their meeting room and for the videotaping of this event for those who could not be here. A video will be posted on our website, which is lwvdare.org, so you can tell people who couldn't get here tonight that they can see it there. We also have on the back table information with regard to the YouTube channel and Dare County Current TV channel, so there'll be other options there. This year, we have asked all the candidates to participate in the League's online voter guide called vote411.org. It became live today, and many of your candidates have already put their information on there, and if not, they'll be working on it for you. This is a one-stop shop website that voters may access on their phone or on their tablet or computer. You will be asked to provide your address, and you will be able to view information for your area. You can choose a candidate and review their information and philosophy statement. Their social media links and their responses to questions we posed will be available. Please go to vote411.org for a refresher of what you heard tonight. But more importantly, please tell your friends and neighbors that this is a great place to obtain the information they need to help them make an informed decision when voting. There is no longer going to be a candidate forum. We've had them all, but we did want to let you know that if you have any interest or know people in Kitty Hawk, there is going to be a candidate reception. They're all uncontested, so they're meeting the public at 2 p.m. on Sunday, October 13th, in the Kitty Hawk meeting room. Some dates to remember, which we kind of announced. The last day to register to vote is Friday, October 11. Please pass this on. Registration forms are available from our greeters. If you know anyone who should be registered to vote and isn't, take one with you. Early voting begins Wednesday, October 16th through November 1st in 2 locations, the Dare County Board of Elections office in Manteo and Kill Devil Hills Town Hall. The hours will be Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturdays, I double-checked this, it's 8 to 2. Of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. We encourage you to join us as we strive to make democracy work. League of Women Voters membership applications are on the information table as well. We'd love you to join us, bring your passion to our membership. Thank you very much to all of you and to all of you for coming, and have a great evening.